Landlords, it's happening. Taxes are coming. The new Land and Building Tax 2020 has been enforced as from the 1st of January this year. Despite the COVID crisis and all the uncertainty, the government has decided to enforce the new tax, and therefore taxes will be collected as from this year. But don't worry, don't panic, landlords. We will help you out and we will teach you the ins and the outs of this new tax in this video. So what is the new Land and Building Tax 2020? Very simply, it's a new law that will replace old legislation. The idea behind this new tax law is simply to simplify the tax code to make it more easy for the government to collect taxes on property, and for the first time, the wealthy will be taxed on their homes and their property. So the idea is to try and improve income distribution and to reduce income disparity. The deadline for tax collection is the 31st of August, and the tax will be applied to agricultural, commercial, residential and vacant land and property. In this video, we will focus exclusively on residential property. So landlords, you must be asking yourself, how much tax will you need to pay? To calculate the new land and building tax, you will need to use something called the appraised value. Appraised value is a valuation set by the government and it is available on their official website. The problem is that this website is only in Thai, so for any foreign landlords that can't read Thai, I will give you a simple rule of thumb. You can use your estimated selling price. The reason I say this is simply because the appraised value is usually a lot lower than the actual marketing price of your property, and therefore it will give you a rough estimation of your tax liability. There are exemptions to this tax. So the people who are exempt are people that have a primary residence or a home. So properties that are classified as primary residences don't need to pay the tax. To be exempt, condos up to 10 million baht are exempt. Landed property like villas, townhouses are exempt up to an appraised value of 50 million baht. Unfortunately, that disqualifies 90% of foreign landlords and their properties, because to be classified as a primary residence or a home, the property needs to have the owner's or the landlord's name on the household registration book, the Tabien Baan. So it's very hard for foreigners to be on the Tabien Baan, so usually it disqualifies that exemption. If you look at this table, it will mean that the tax rate that applies to you is in the last column. The tax brackets are between 0.02% all the way up to 0.1%. If I give you a very simple example, if your property has an appraised value of 5 million baht, you would need to pay 0.02% of that. Tax reduction. Every landlord wants to reduce their tax liability. It's important to know that for the first 2 years of the implementation of this tax, there is a transition period. So at the moment, the tax rate is incredibly low. However, as from the 3rd year, the tax rates will be going up across the board. At the moment, we are obviously going through the COVID crisis and it's really, really bad for the Thai economy. So the government has set out some relief efforts and has allowed a reduction of 90% on the tax liable for this year. A big question that we get asked a lot by crafty landlords is, what happens if you don't comply with the new land and building tax? So if you decide not to pay your tax after the set deadline of 31st of August, and you ignore the warning letter sent out by the government, you will be liable for a penalty of 40% of the unpaid taxes. After that, for every month of unpaid taxes, you will be charged an interest rate of 1%. Some of you landlords might be thinking, well, the tax isn't really high, it's not that expensive to pay, so what I'll do, I'll probably pay it in a year's time, or when I sell the property, or when the tax rates go up. That isn't a good idea. The law is still work in progress, but from discussing with legal professionals, this is obviously tax evasion, and the government may implement measures that will restrict you from selling your property until you settle your tax liability. So finally, we've come to the end of this video. I really hope that was useful. I know there was a lot of information to take in, so feel free to check the description box where I will leave a lot of the info, or simply ask a question in the comment box below. Thank you for watching.